Today we are on the Orkney Islands. The Orkneys consist of over 100 islands to the north of Scotland. Kirkwall is the capital and has a population of a few thousand. The location of the Orkney Islands at 58 degrees northern latitude is in any case a clear indication of harsh weather conditions. When we arrive, the sky is cloudy and although it is August, it's quite cold. It's around 7:30 when the pilot comes on board to enter the harbour. The cruise terminal is located in a sheltered bay. Kirkwall is also the most important harbour in the Orkneys and in addition to cruise ships also used by ferries from various directions, from the other Orkney Islands, the Shetland Islands and Aberdeen. This means that Kirkwall is a real transport hub. When we arrive at the cruise terminal, there is a big welcoming party and we see a lot of flags. What a nice way to welcome your guests. It's about 4 kilometers from the cruise terminal to the city center. There is a free shuttle service from the pier to the city center, which runs continuously throughout the day and is based on passenger demand. You can also walk into the city center, which takes around 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how fast you walk. In the blue container there is a meet and greet service to provide arriving passengers with general information about the Orkneys. We've got a small map of the town there showing all the places of interest, which is available in various languages including German, French and even Dutch. So you can easily explore the city of your own, which is exactly what we are about to do. And here we are in the center of Kirkwall. It's still early in the morning and everything seems a little sleepy. The first thing we want to visit is one of the main sites, the St. Magnus Cathedral. It is the town's landmark and apparently one of the most beautiful churches in Scotland. It was built in the 12th century and is dedicated to St. Magnus. Kirkwall has a long history and was once a center of power for the Vikings. They came to Orkney in the 8th century and took over rule here. Kirkwall developed into a trading center. The Vikings shaped the culture and language of Orkney. One of the most famous Vikings was Magnus Erlendsson, who was appointed Jarl of Orkney around 1100 when Kirkwall was part of the Kingdom of Norway. Magnus was murdered by his cousin Håkon, who saw him as a threat to his power. According to the legend, several miracles occurred after his death and Magnus was canonized. His remains were buried in St. Magnus Cathedral. The cathedral is an impressive example of Romanesque architecture and shows the influence of the Vikings on the art and religion of Orkney. From the outside, the cathedral is well worth seeing because of the different sandstone colors. Both types of sandstones come from the Orkney Islands. The interior of the cathedral is impressive. The central nave is characterized by massive columns in the Norman style. The vault is huge and the cathedral has beautiful stained glass windows. The ship's bell of HMS Royal Oak can also be found here. It commemorates the 833 men from HMS Royal Oak drowned in Scarborough Flow in October 1939 after being torpedoed by a German submarine. The St. Magnus Cathedral has the distinction of being the only cathedral in the British Isles with its own dungeon, Marvick's Hole. It is known to have held men and women imprisoned as late as the 18th century. Not many towns can claim to be home of two castle ruins in the center. This is the Bishop's Palace, a ruined castle whose origins date back to the 12th century. Next to it, the Earl's Palace is located, a second castle ruin built at the beginning of the 17th century. It is a Renaissance palace built by the Earl of Orkney. The St. Magnus Cathedral forms the heart of the city. From here the shopping streets lead off. Many of the houses date from the 17th and 18th centuries. In the city centre you will find typical shops and pubs, tea rooms with pastries and local beer, as well as typical souvenirs such as lamb's-wool scarves. Scotland wouldn't be Scotland if whiskey wasn't also distilled here, so there is a distillery nearby the harbour. One of Scotland's most famous whiskies is produced here. You can take part in a tasting here. We are not, since we have an excursion this afternoon, so we don't have enough time. We take another stroll around the harbour and soak up the rough and fresh sea air. Then we're heading back to the ship by shuttle bus.